But everyone and their mama is asking me the same question. Matt, what happened to him? Why'd he fall so far? He was the #1 high school player. He was a 5-star recruit. He had a good career at Texas. What went wrong with this guy? These are all fair questions. They really are. But here is the cold, harsh truth about Quinn Ewers that nobody's wanting to tell you. I want all my diehard college football fans to really listen to this. Imagine telling somebody after Isaiah Bond caught that game-winning touchdown pass against Auburn that Robbie Oots, a fullback, would have been drafted over him 2 years later. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you had a great Sunday. Hope all of you had a great time watching and keeping up with the NFL draft. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. I know why you're here. You know why we're here. Not beating around the bush. We're here to recap day 3, the final day, rounds 4 through 7. We're going to talk about some of the notable picks and the big-time storylines. One of the most important things we're going to be talking about, though, and more likely it's going to be at the end, so if you want to skip through, go ahead and do that, is Quinn Ewers, why he fell in the draft, and Isaiah Bond. Ironically enough, just thought about this, both of them were teammates at Texas. The Ewers one is crazy in its own right, just due to the fact he was a 5-star recruit, but not only that, the #1 overall player in the nation. Back in the good old days, his glory days, high school, and he fell all the way down to the 7th round. Crazy stuff there, but why did it happen? That's a little foreshadowing. We're going to get into that later in the video. His counterpart, the Iron Bowl hero, Isaiah Bond, the gravedigger, he went undrafted as well. I know Quinn Ewers is more of a household name, but Isaiah Bond was making over $1 million per year at Texas, and they gave him a Lamborghini to leave Alabama. His careers went downhill, and I mean it has went downhill fast. Starting out hot, though, early in the 4th round, not going to talk about all these picks. At 105, the Giants finally do something right. They get Cam Skattebo out of Arizona State. This guy can play. If you were to type in Google what's the definition of underrated, there'd be a picture of Cam Skattebo that'd pop up right next to it. He's not extremely fast, but the one thing I love about him is he is just a grinder. I remember playing ball with a guy like this. Cam Skattebo was the guy in Smear the, I don't think I can say the word after, but growing up, if you played Smear, the alternative word is deer. He was the guy that you hated to see get the football because you weren't going to bring him down by yourself. In high school, Skattebo ran through everybody's face. Arizona State, he ran through everybody's face. NFL, it's a different challenge, but I still think he's going to be hard to take down. He is for sure going to be a fan favorite. I'm happy for him, and if you're a Giants fan, you should be excited about this pick. What about this one? The Jets get Arian Smith out of Georgia. Did anyone have more drops in all college football last year than Arian Smith? That's all he did was drop the football. Everything else about him is fine. He's a deep ball threat, great at route running. He just struggles with drops. Hopefully he can turn that around in the NFL. Maybe it was a mental thing. I guess I'll have to wait and see. 2 running backs go at 114 and 118. Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn. I'll talk about him in just a second. First things first. Trevor Etienne, former Florida running back coming out of Georgia. Remember, he transferred there. He's going to Bryce Young with the Panthers. And Jarquez Hunter, one of the more underrated running backs, kind of like Cam Skattebo. The only reason nobody talked about Hunter at Auburn is because Auburn has sucked the past couple of years, but he was a bright spot for him. If Hunter was on a better team, I think that would have helped his draft status out a little bit more. That's just me. I think this was a great pick for the Titans at 120. They get Gunnar Helm out of Texas. Keep your eyes on him. Fun fact of the day, he broke the record at Texas for most catches and receptions by a tight end in one single season. He is quicker than most tight ends out there. Reminds me a lot of Mason Taylor from LSU, who went earlier in the draft. Jack Sawyer from Louisville, Ohio State, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a decent pickup. I don't think he's going to be a stud in the NFL. He was also a 5-star recruit that kind of had somewhat of a disappointing season, or not season, but disappointing career at Ohio State. And I know Ohio State fans are going to say, Matt, what are you talking about, man? This guy was a star last year. But you got to remember, he was there for 4 or 5 years, and he never really dominated. He was good, don't get it twisted, but you got to understand, with 5-star recruits, we hold them to a different standard. They are expected to play 2 at max 3 years of college ball, completely terrorizing competition like Shamar Stewart did at Texas A&M, and go to the NFL. He didn't do that. He's a great young man, just not a stud of a football player. And if you want to argue with that, that's fine. There's a reason he fell to the 5th round. Or my apologies, the 4th round. Moving on down here, one of my favorite running backs in this draft, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. Browns got a good one here, but it goes back to the Browns being stupid. They took Quinshon Judkins earlier. What are they doing? 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. Come on, Brownies. I know you're the worst franchise in all of sports, but you got to be better than this. I like the pick in itself, but when you look at their entire draft, you do have to ask some questions and scratch your head. Malachi Moore, safety from Alabama, goes to New York Jets at 130. Going on down here, I think. Oh, yeah, another Alabama player, Q Robinson, goes to the Broncos. And that is it for the 4th round, except, saving the best for last, Elick Ayomanor, wide receiver out of Stanford. You're probably sitting there going, Matt, why are we talking about this guy? Good question, my friend. I'd love to answer it. Ayomanor is the individual that gave Travis Hunter a 300 burger. He had 294 receiving yards in one game matched up against Travis Hunter, and he mossed him. He did his best White Randy impersonation. I remember that game like it was yesterday. I don't even have to look it up. I just remember it. He had 294 receiving yards. It was unreal. I believe, unless I'm highly mistaken, that is the game in which Stanford came back and upset Colorado when they were losing 29-0. 29-0. One of the worst losses for Coach Prime. That Stanford team sucked, but guess who didn't suck? Elick Ayomanor. Give him the ball and get out the way. Titans, you got a solid player there. The 5th round, the biggest storyline is obviously Shedeur Sanders getting picked up by the Brownies at 144. We made a separate video talking about that, so due to that, not going to talk about too much in this one. Shout out to Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M getting selected by the Baltimore Ravens at 141, and shout out to the 256. The Seahawks at 166 got one of the better wide receivers in this draft, if you got to ask me. Torrey Holton out of Colorado State doesn't get a lot of love and hype due to he didn't go to a Power 4 school, but I think he's going to have a good NFL career. This is one you got to love if you're an old school player. Robbie Oots. Let me say that again. Robbie Oots. Fullback. I know it says tight end, but he was pretty much like the fullback / tight end for Alabama when he was there. He got drafted in the 5th round by the... I got to clap it up. Not because he's an Alabama player, but just because an old school player. I mean, when do fullbacks get... It is rare to see that happen. I know. Just wipe away the tight end. Guy played fullback a ton. If you don't believe me, listen to this. Robbie Oots only caught 11 passes in 2 years. Not 1 year, but 2 years combined. He is a run and pass blocker only. That is what he does. And I'm not labeling that as a tight end. I can't do it. Fullback. I want all my diehard college football fans to really listen to this. Imagine telling somebody after Isaiah Bond caught that game-winning touchdown pass against Auburn that Robbie Oots, a fullback, would have been drafted over him 2 years later. If you're not a college football fan, I don't think you understand how ridiculous that is. I know Alabama fans that don't even know who Robbie Oots is. I had some of them call me saying, oh, yo, Matt, I didn't even know this guy was on the team. He's got drafted. He's one of those unsung heroes that does all the dirty work, but still crazy. Robbie Oots, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, got drafted before Isaiah Bond. Crazy. Shout out to Oots, man. Shout out to Oots. I love to see it. Speaking of guys that fell off, Ollie Gordon. Man, y'all remember him? People were talking about how he was going to win the Heisman Trophy. He was one of the front runners. He sucked it up last year at Oklahoma State. I know they didn't have that great of a team. But saying he was mid, that may be sugarcoating it. Not very good. He fell all the way down to the 6th round. Ollie Gordon's a decent back, but that's all he is. And if you want the truth, I didn't think he was going to get selected this high. I thought he was going to go undrafted. The Philadelphia Crimson Bulldogs get Cal McCord, quarterback out of Syracuse and former Little Bro State quarterback. Pretty good pickup there. Cal McCord will learn under Jalen Hurts. And I got to bring this up. Will Howard, remember the guy they brought in to replace Cal McCord? He got drafted after him, 185 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason I'm going to talk about this is because I tried telling Ohio State fans this. Kyle McCord, I said it from day one, I'm standing 10 toes down on this, and it proves it. Kyle McCord was better than Will Howard. I will forever stand 10 toes down on that, and you can disagree with it all you want, but this proves it. He got drafted higher. And oh yeah, I got to throw this in there as well. Kyle McCord's only... How old is Kyle McCord? Hey Siri, how old is Kyle McCord? Okay, Kyle McCord is only 22 years old. Will Howard's already pushing 30. Graham Mertz, quarterback out of Florida. Everybody forgot about him because he got hurt in that game against Tennessee. But let me remind some of you, in that game, he was balling out, and he was having a great year for Florida up until that point. If Graham Mertz doesn't get hurt, guys, I think he might win as high as early in the 2nd round or 3rd round. He was putting some great tape out there, had good numbers when you look at it. I like the pocket presence, not a weak arm, very accurate quarterback. I'm a big Graham Mertz advocate and fan. We had not one but 2 Colorado wide receivers get selected at 203 and 208, Jimmy Horn Jr. and Wester. Decent pickups there. Heading into the 7th round, we had Damian Martinez, running back out of Miami. He got selected by the Seahawks. And what about this at 227? Curtis Rourke out of Indiana got drafted before Quinn Ewers. Curtis Rourke. As you can see right here, Mr. Quinn Ewers himself got selected 231 by the Miami Dolphins. Here's where things get interesting, but first things first, clap it up. Nice little golf clap. Congratulations. You got drafted, it's a big day, and you should celebrate it, rightfully so. But everyone and their mama is asking me the same question. Matt, what happened to him? Why'd he fall so far? He was the #1 high school player. He was a 5-star recruit. He had a good career at Texas. What went wrong with this guy? These are all fair questions. They really are. But here is the cold, harsh truth about Quinn Ewers that nobody's wanting to tell you. Was he a stud coming out of high school? Yes, 10,000%. There wasn't a high school quarterback I love more and regarded as high as Quinn Ewers in an extremely long time. I'll go so far as to saying this. He was flawless as a prospect coming out of high school. Nothing wrong with his game at all. Hence why he had a perfect scout grade on 24/7 Sports, and he was the #1 overall recruit in high school. I'm not trying to sound like a smart aleck here, but you do understand what a #1 overall player means, right? There's nobody better than you. You are the cream of the crop. You're the best of the best. You can't do anything better to improve your ranking. The way he moved in the pocket, the way he analyzed the field, the short passes, the mid-range passes, the deep ball. It was on our level compared to his competition. He was perfect in every area as a high school prospect. Keyword, high school. When he got to college in his first year at Texas, you remember what he did against Alabama on those first couple of drives before Dallas Turner drove him into the dirt? He lit them up. If he doesn't get hurt, they win that game too. Not just the one at Alabama. I'm talking about when it was at Texas the year before. The sad truth about Ewers is he reached his peak as a high school senior and freshman at Texas. He has not gotten better since those days. If you think I'm wrong, tell me why in the comment section. I would love to hear an explanation because I've watched every single one of his games, and that's how I view it. If you take away his first read, and especially his second read, he's burnt toast. You see, in high school, your first read, rarely if ever, maybe 1% of the time, gets taken away, and you have to actually act like an NFL quarterback. Same thing in college. Well, what happened is in college, these teams started to realize, hey, if we can just lock in on the star wide receiver, we can just take away this first read that he loves to go to, that's when he may run into some problems, and problems he ran into. And where these scouts really started to get concerned with Ewers is they saw it, especially against Georgia. If you send pressure at him, he's like a deer in headlights. He's awful. Granted, these are things you can work on. He can improve on all this stuff, but as it stands right now, not a good prospect heading into the NFL. Whereas guys like Cam Ward, did you notice how calm, cool, and collected he always was at Miami, whether there were 3 guys rushing or 8 guys? That's what NFL scouts like to see. Quinn Ewers gets some happy feet, makes some bad throws, one thing leads to another, and that's how you finish the year with 12 interceptions. Another thing that has hurt him, and it got exposed this most recent season as well, is he's not good at reading defenses. I still like him much better than some of these other quarterbacks. I'll put it to you like this. I like him more than Tyler Show out of Louisville, and he got drafted 40th overall. But the problem with Ewers, and it's what I'm trying to explain to y'all, this is why he fell in the draft. Coming out of high school, no flaws. Heading into the NFL, he has multiple flaws, and they already got exposed in this most recent season at Texas. Here's the last thing I'll say before we get a move on. If coming out of high school, Quinn Ewers' stock was $100 a share, right now it's probably like $2 a share. I'd buy a bunch of it. I wouldn't go all in, but I'd definitely give me some. I am not giving up on him quite just yet. I can't do it. Won't do it. I refuse to do it. Tez Johnson from Oregon, wide receiver. He went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 235. Scrolling on down here, Phil Maffa, running back out of Clemson. He's going to the Cowboys. And yeah, that is pretty much all the notable players I wanted to talk about. Let's get into the other main topic of this video. Isaiah Bond, undrafted. I got to throw this out there. First things first. Isaiah Bond is currently facing some allegations that some girl is accusing him of. Let me clarify and say this again. These are allegations. Not even going to go into that story. That's a different video for a different day. Just want y'all to have some context. Secondly, he regressed immensely at Texas. I know everybody's bringing up, well, he ran a 4.35 40-yard dash. That doesn't amount to a hill of beans when you got bad tape and you also got these allegations that are coming out right before the draft. Whether these allegations are true or not, I have no idea. I can't even speculate because I haven't even looked into it too much myself. The Isaiah Bond situation is more simpler than the Quinn Ewers one. Regardless of this or these allegations coming out about him, he wasn't getting selected within the first couple of rounds. Nobody was even talking about that. So let's talk about his game, not all the other stuff going on. Let me ask you a question. What does he do that really impresses you? What did he do this year at Texas? You're like, oh yeah, NFL wide receiver, starter in the National Football League. For me, nothing. Nothing at all. The only thing I can say about him that's really good is, yeah, he's fast, but There's a lot of fast wide receivers. Him running a 4.35 didn't wow teams. We knew he was fast. When you don't produce a lot at Texas, in which he didn't, only had 500 receiving yards, and you have injury problems, that's some of the biggest red flags any scout, GM, owner can look at. So I get it completely, him going undrafted. Do I hate it for him? Absolutely, especially with me being a Bama fan and him having one of the most legendary catches in Alabama history. Maybe the best catch in Alabama history outside of Devontae Smith catching that game winner from Tua in 2017, the national championship. I'm grateful for what he did at Alabama. I hated to see him leave, and also hate that it worked out this way. But maybe it's a lesson for some kids out there that are considering leaving a great situation in which he was in. Isaiah Bond could have been for Alabama what Ryan Williams was this year. Instead, he chose to leave and it opened up the door for somebody else. It is what it is, though. Wish him best of luck. And just because you don't get drafted, it doesn't mean your career's over. You still got a fighting chance. Many more things I could say. Want it off here. Let me know your thoughts down below. But